Trump actually got interviewed on Hannity about Biden, and apparently gave a concession, actually conceded that he's aware that he lost the presidency. And Maggie Haberman, who's, you know, the Trump tickler, I wouldn't call her quite a whisperer, but it seems tickler, says that Trump, this is the moment that when Biden was meeting with Putin, this is the moment where Trump realized he's not president and he's never going to be president again.
Understand it. I think that in many ways we're stronger now than ever before. They understand the deception.
Well, yeah, now that Biden's in office and we don't, you know, we've gotten through you. I mean, if we stand at if we could withstand a stress test on that level, we're good.
And the horror that these people put this country.
The horror. I swallowed a bug.
Through. It's really very sad, actually.
Yeah.
Let me go into this double standard issue that I've been discussing here.
Yeah, how the media treats you. Bring up hydroxychloroquine.
And that is, we went through 3 years as a country. And I covered it almost.
Yeah, and almost 4.
Every night. Every major newspaper, 2 cable networks that are nothing but Democratic propaganda, ABC, NBC, CBS, they all got it wrong about Trump-Russia collusion.
80% of Fox.
But
yeah, no, they didn't. No, we're finding out more and more that the Trump White House just hid these things and ran a protection racket within the DOJ to, you know, for all the clamoring about the deep state, he was basically attempting to create his own deep state from scratch.
now we know the truth. We know that Hillary Clinton paid for the dirty Russian misinformation dossier that even Christopher Steele doesn't stand by. And
yes, he does. He not only stood by it, he held on to it, and he took his little feet over to John McCain and then to the FBI because he was concerned that a criminal was going to be the president of the United States.
the subsource doesn't stand by. That dossier she paid for was then used to spy on you as a candidate, and a FISA court was lied to. And then,
yeah, the lie to the FISA court would have made it less likely that Carter Page got a warrant against him. So they were trying to help him. Who was president with that? All right.
And it was used again to spy on you as in your transition phase and then as a president. And we also know that money from Russia made it to a prominent political family in America. That would be Hunter Biden's family. That would be Joe's son. Now,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I like Russian money. It's basically how my radio show is paid for.
Again, I ask you, that wasn't the coverage for 3 years while you were in office, actually 4 if you want to include Ukraine. What do you make of the double standard? Some people even get Pulitzers over such phony coverage.
Well, they did get Pulitzer.
Somebody snickering in the background. Is Hannity alone at home doing the show?
And it turned out to be they got Pulitzers for absolutely incorrect and opposite reporting. It was
an opposite reporting.
Horrible reporting.
Yeah.
And there are many people that should have gotten Pulitzers where they had it right, but they were not considered, and it's a disgrace.
It is a disgrace.
Pulitzer is another one that's been disgraced by this whole last.
Yeah, I mean, what is a Pulitzer anyways? I mean, why do you even want it anymore? I mean, he wants one, but
4.5 year period, 5 year.
No, but anybody who has one is probably just this
period. But literally from the day of that wonderful ride down the escalator, from that moment on, investigation after investigation, and the people that were guilty.
Well, I do have a complaint about them investigating him from the day he announced. My feeling is he should have been under investigation for years previous, but the New York SDNY let it slide, mainly because he was friends with Rudy and that crowd.
They just float right through how it wasn't done. DOJ didn't do anything about it.
No.
I guess they felt they want to be soft. This group doesn't.
That's what they did. They woke up every morning and went, how do I want to take on my day? I want to be soft. You know, like Downey.
Didn't feel that way, but you know what? I let that up to DOJ. I let that up to the people running DOJ.
I let that up. Left. Fuck, man. Now I understand why your son can't talk. Left that up to DOJ. Not let that up. What the hell?
DOJ, and I wasn't involved. I would say that probably maybe less involved than I should have been. And maybe I should have been forcing it. But a lot of...
Dude, get a drink of water, spit or something. Your lateral lisp is driving me crazy. There's a lot of this that, I should have done when I shouldn't have done it.
Guilty people were not in any way prosecuted. And I'm talking about very, very serious
Thank you, Diana. Everyone vote blue so these asses will go away. Yes.
things. If you look at Comey and McCabe and the two lovers and all of the things that went on.
The two lovers.
And they weren't prosecuted. If you read...
Yeah, you should. Yeah, lovers should be prosecuted. I agree. I support the The Notebook Act of 2021.
The Horowitz report. And, of course...
The Horowitz report?
Everyone's still waiting for Durham. What happened to Durham?
Yeah, what happened to Durham? Where's the Durham? Where's the Durham? By the way, the Lindell crowd and all that, those folks are still freaking out about the Durham report. Let's see what they say. May 27th. This is the... Okay. Durham subpoenaing the Brookings. Let's start with the latest thing. March 30th, April 14th, May 27th. This is the latest one. This is the most recent stuff on the Durham report. Special counsel spends $1.5 million in probe of Russia inquiry. Barr appointed Durham in 2019 after Trump spoke of conspiracy. Where's Durham? Where's Durham? Trump asked of inquiry longer than Mueller's. The U.S. Department released the first official expenditure report for the special investigation into the origins of the FBI's Russia inquiry, providing a rare bit of insight into the secretive review more than 2 years after it was begun in response to demands by then-President Donald Trump. The inquiry, being led by special counsel John Durham, spent about $1.5 million from October 19th to March 31st, according to the report from the Justice Department released Thursday. Of that, Durham directly spent about $934,000, mostly on personnel. Oh, good. All right. So I'm glad we're just hiring people to hire them. While Justice Department units spent about $520,000 to support the investigation using other personnel. Lovely. According to the 5-page report. So basically, this is all salaries. $1 million in salaries, basically, for himself and other people, and, a real investigation. In April 2019, Bill Barr appointed Durham, a U.S. attorney in Connecticut, to look into whether FBI or intelligence officials committed crimes when they investigated whether anyone associated with Trump's 2016 presidential campaign conspired with Russia to interfere with the year's election. Barr named Durham as a special counsel in October 2020 in an effort to protect him if Trump lost re-election. It's unclear how much Durham has spent in total, but he is only required to report expenditures. He was only required to report expenditures since the special counsel designation. So he's been doing this the whole time, didn't come up with anything, and then they just started throwing money at the problem because it wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, it's a good question. Where is the Durham report?
Is that allowed to go into another administration?
By the way, is he in the witness protection program? I'd like to know where he is, too. Is he in the
the best, by the way, the best people.
Witness protection program? I don't know, he disappeared.
To be gone, and there was but you didn't even have to go into Durham. You could have just taken the Horowitz report, and I have a lot of respect for Mr. Horowitz, the IG, and he wrote a report that was devastating to Comey and
they're completely wiped out.
Devastating to McCabe, and they didn't do anything with it. It's incredible.
Must have not. Well, it doesn't sound very devastating then.
Well, actually, incredible. Very sad.
No one was devastated by this devastating report.
They're very sad for the country, but I guess they felt they shouldn't, and yet this administration feels the exact opposite. If people don't do anything
that they should
wrong, they want to go after them. Big difference, and it's it's a tough standard. But hopefully, you have an attorney general now that will be fair. But I will say that the people running the Justice Department and the people in it, don't forget, you have tens of thousands of people, and they were put there by Obama. They were put there by
Obama?
Everybody. They were put there.
Yeah, they were put there by everybody. You mean like the voters who voted in your predecessors who made the... Fucking hell.
By Obama. They were put there by everybody. They were put there by a lot of people that came, including Clinton. But they were also put there by Bush. And, you see what goes on with that whole group. So you have... Yeah,
you just see what... You guys see it, right? Don't you? What goes on with that whole group?
A lot of people put in there by Bush and Clinton.
And Republicans and Democrats.
By Obama
and Obama.
Then you put some in yourself, and you can't do anything about it, I guess.
Some of them were put in by Trump, and they still went after me.
I don't know, but
I don't know.
But I think that they were very, very soft, and maybe rightfully so. But they were.
Were they luxurious? Were they like My Pillow soft?
Very, very soft, and probably they wanted to be very fair. But a lot of people don't look at it that way. It's a shame. There was such guilt and such a horrible thing happened. They were spying on my campaign. You know, if you think about it, all the way back, almost at the beginning, when I
came down the big escalator,
made a statement that my campaign was spied on. It was one of the biggest moments. It was nobody could believe it. Then
it's bullshit.
It turned out that it was more than spied on, much worse than being spied on.
Well, no, it was much better than being spied on. Spied on would give the idea that you didn't have the right to that information. You were investigated. There were people who were looking into criminal activities. You know, the cops don't spy on people. They get a warrant for a wiretap or a search warrant. That's what that's for. That's not spying.
But they didn't do anything about it, and to me, that's a terrible thing for our country.
I don't see that Biden got anything from Putin, and I can't believe that.
Yeah, unlike you,
American energy workers were with a stroke of a pen, lost their high-paying career jobs for the same exact thing, the waiver that Biden gave on Nord Stream. I can't believe it. Let me ask you this.
Wait, American workers can't go work on Nord Stream? So American contractors who have those jobs, which is more than likely part of the reason why they gave a waiver on it, those guys can't go work on that one and not build the shale oil pipeline? I mean, obviously, this is a whimpering fart from Hannity and Trump, both of them trying to find like a big, win in this, and it's just so bad.
If you were still president.
Ouch. To Hannity?
Would you have given that waiver? And secondly, what would you be doing about the cyber attacks that are ongoing?
You mean the ones that happened during his presidency that he didn't do anything about? I mean, Biden clearly, after one happened while he was in office, he formed a ransomware task force, and they were able to get money back, including money from hacks that happened last year. We didn't even hear about.
Colonial pipeline, the attacks on our meat industry. How would you be handling that with Putin?
Yeah, tell him. Just tell him how you have to be nice, and a good relationship is important to have, but you can't be soft, and this is just a disaster. It's going to be fun.
Well, in the waiver, nobody really understands that I was the one that stopped it. I stopped it from being built, and I went to Germany, and I said, listen, we protect you with NATO at a very low cost, and they're very delinquent. They're only paying half of what they're supposed to be paying and what they're supposed to.
Gee, it's almost as if Europe went through the same economic downturn we did and was still recovering from it.
To be paying is very low, 2%, and they're paying half. And so we protect you. We have 52,000 soldiers over there, which is like a major, major city, frankly. They make a fortune with us. And then they go.
Yeah, if you have 52,000 people in your city, it's a town.
And they pay Russia billions and billions of dollars for energy. So I said, so let's get this straight. To Angela, I said, we protect you, and the people that we protect you from, the country, you're paying billions of dollars. How does that work?
Yeah, but you were also going to build a tower there. So, this works both ways. We can talk about how you were going to build a Trump Tower Moscow, and yet you were charged with protecting us from their attacks on our businesses and our infrastructure and our elections, and you didn't.
And there are others. So I got NATO to pay $430 billion more than they were paying, because the United States was paying for almost all of it. I mean, think of it. We pay for their protection, and they, excuse the word, they screw us on trade. That's the only word that's really descriptive enough.
Is it? Really? Yeah, I guess so. If every If every sexual interaction in your life has been either forced or coercive in some way, I guess that's how you would use the word screwed. The rest of us will use it pejoratively in that term occasionally, but also we can laugh at the jokes and like Blazing Saddles. What do you like to do? Play cards and screw? Let's say we play cards.
Because they are, in many ways, worse than China or as bad as China.
Oh, yeah, that's the EU, sure, is worse than China or as bad as China, which, of course, attacked us with a bioweapon that he let go and then sold them all of our beef. And yeah.
On trade. How many Chevrolets are being sold in Berlin? Not too many. How many Chevrolets are being sold in Paris? Not too many, maybe none. And yet...
Maybe none. American auto sales, France. Excuse me one moment, if you might. I'd say American auto sales. I'm going to find some sort of chart. Stats. And the French auto industry sold over 2 million, down from approximately 276. French vehicle market. Car sales, let's see. Global car sales data. 1, China, 2, U.S. Factory one. French automotive industry sales statistics. Let's see. How many? Oh, we'll just do it this way. American auto sales in France. Maybe that's it. There we go. Let's see. All right, estimated vehicle sales in France from 2005 to 2020. Vehicles and road traffic. Let's see. Show source of information, published data. Shows source additional information. Oh, I can't do that. That's annoying. All right, let's see. Let's see. Chevrolet. Oops. There we go. Oh, there, spell it right. Here you go. Number of Chevrolet cars sold in France from 2009 to 2015. Millions. Here we go. 96 in 2015. We were selling 21,518 yearly. They sell about 2 million cars a year. These are Chevys. Let's see. Let's see if Ford. Ford sold in France. Let's do it here. Ford car sales. Yeah, Ford's doing all right. Chevy stopped doing it over there. Is generally this goes back to 2018. About 82,633. 2009. Apparently, like French cars maybe were expensive compared to deals. They were trying to move cars after the crash. 2009, when Obama comes in, 133,000. They might have just bought them because they liked American cars because they were proud of our president. And then ding, 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 and then Trump comes in and kind of hums along at the same number it was going since 2012. So there you go. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate that. So about probably, I would say he probably picked Chevy because of that specific reason.
We sell their products, their wines and their cars and their Mercedes and their BMW.
Actually, we don't. As far as France goes, French cars will be returning to the United States. Yeah, here he goes. Car and driver. This is an article from June 8th, 2019. French cars are coming to America, so we drove one. Here's a Peugeot. What the Peugeot 508 can tell us about the brand's plan to sell cars here in 2023. They're not, but they're going to be. In 2023, you'll be able to buy a Peugeot here. Currently, you ain't.
W's and everything else, we sell it all over our country. And all of that was stopping. We were ready to go. And then we got hit by the pandemic. And nobody did as good a job with the pandemic as we did. And that's why we're leading the world in terms of...
And that's why you got drummed out of office, because you did everything you can to look the other way. Luckily, the structures of our government and our CDC and NIH are still functioning entities. And our pharmaceutical companies are the most advanced in the world. And we were lucky. Yeah, I suppose.
Coming back. And that was all set long before
goodbye.
Biden came in, including...
Joint Base Andrews, January 20th. What year was that, Hannity? What year? You didn't put the year. Why didn't you put the year? Because it was this one. This is that morning. This is the morning of January 20th. Bye.
Including the fact that we came up with vaccines in less than 9 months when a lot of people, everybody said it was going to take 3 to 5 years and you probably wouldn't be successful.
And by the way, in about 3 to 5 years, that's when his followers will start getting vaccinated.
And if we weren't successful, Sean, I'll tell you this, you would have another 1917 tragedy. Still 19. Tragedy where almost 100 million people died, but we were successful.
Yeah, asshole. That happened when we didn't have the microscopes we have now. We didn't have mRNA vaccines. We didn't have genetic therapies. We didn't have all the background of information of scientific discoveries that have happened since then to operate on. Yes, you're right. If we were back in 1917 and COVID had hit, it would have killed 100 million people. Largely because it was pre-fortification of vitamin D in milk products.
So it was a great thing.
Let me ask you, in your summits and in your conversations with Putin while president,
did he ever, let me ask you, why didn't you jump on one of the ATVs and pretend to go vroom vroom like you did in the big trucks?
What did you learn about him? Have you spoken to him since you left office? And was it a mistake for Biden not to hold that joint press conference with Putin?
Well, my ass still hurts from the last one because you stand. It doesn't seem like he's got short arms, but he can reach. Let me tell you.
I got along really well with him. Nobody was tougher in Russia. He would say that, but nobody was tougher in Russia.
Well, that's because the Senate made you.
Never heard of Nord Stream. You never heard of all of the things that we did in terms of sanctions. So many sanctions.
Oh, the sanctions. Oh, I got so many names.
And I was loving the idea of taking them off. I would have loved to have taken them off as soon.
But I had to have them there because the Senate made me.
As they got their act together, I think we had a great shot at having an unbelievable relationship with.
Yes, most of the relationships you would have with a Russia run by Vladimir Putin would be not believable.
With Russia, it could have been fantastic. It could have been really beneficial to both countries. You know, they need
all 28 billion.
Need economics, and we need things that they have, where they have very valuable land in terms of mineral rights and many other things, and a lot of.
That's so. We were going to negotiate to get mineral rights in Russia.
Good things could have happened. I had a very good relationship with Putin, but nobody treated him tougher. He understands. Nobody ever heard of the pipeline until I got involved, and I said, "What?"
Yeah, except maybe the Europeans.
Wait a minute, the pipeline
and NATO and the United States.
Going to Germany and all over Europe. What's going on? Why are we protecting you people? You know, again, and
you people.
It was just unbelievable. I got.
Was it unbelievable though?
So much for that, and to give up the stoppage. I mean, I stopped it, and to give it up, and then if you see what they did, and the number is really 48,000, not 8,000, but you see what they did with the Keystone XL pipeline.
You mean the Canadian shale oil pipeline?
Where they stopped it almost on the first day.
Yeah, I know. That was the. Let's see. Biden vows to stop Keystone XL, just in case I don't bring this up. Let's see. This is May. This goes all the way back to May 18th. Just in case, I just need you to have that sit in your brain, because he's going to go, he never brought this up. He always says he never brought this up, so just in case.
And that was never mentioned during the debate.
Fucking hell. I called it. I said it. That was never brought up. And again, this is Trump.
Debate. I kept saying, you're not going to be energy independent. You're not going to do for Pennsylvania, for Texas, for all of these places where we're doing so well. You're not going to. And that was never mentioned. XL pipeline, where they stopped it almost on the first day. And that was never mentioned during the debate. I kept saying, you're not going to be energy independent. You're not going to do for Pennsylvania, for Texas, for all of these places where we're doing so well with energy. We're not going to be energy independent in 2 months from now. They're making windmills all over the place to ruin our land and kill our birds.
Those fucking birds.
To kill everything.
Oh, the bird. Yes. The birds. Jesus Christ. You give all the birds cancer.
We're not going to be, and they're very intermittent, as you learn from.
Yeah, the bird killings are intermittent. Absolutely. Bird cancer is very intermittent. It comes in fits and starts.
Watching over the last 4 months, it's intermittent energy.
Uh-huh.
It's not good. It's not going to power our great factories.
Well, yeah, nobody's using it for factories. We're using it for homes, for example. And so that we don't have to draw energy from our grid that we're using those sources on until we come up with a better one, which is probably going to be nuclear, very possibly micronuclear and thorium-based reactors, which I look forward to discussing in the future. But right now, what you do is you power all the houses and stuff off of solar, wind, and geothermal, and then, I guess Google's got a building that they're running completely off of geothermal as well. But then the factories can use the fossil fuels, and that lowers the impact of them over time. This is not difficult.
And
what did you make of? Problem. Yeah, there was a question of what. There was a question of what.
Yeah, stop him stop him from talking about bird cancer.
Whether Ukraine would join NATO, and
when doves cry. Maybe you're just like my windmill. You always kill me dead. Maybe you're just like a turbine, smashing me as I fly right in the head.
Biden's answer is they have to clean up corruption. And, so they can't join NATO because they got to clean up corruption. But his son made a fortune, and he leveraged $1 billion and bragged about it of U.S. tax dollars. And this is a big issue to you because you went over an impeachment over this, leveraged $1 billion to get a prosecutor in Ukraine fired.
Under orders from the Obama administration and the direction of the U.S. Congress.
He's got 6 hours to do it, and son of a bee, they did it.
Right. It's amazing. It's almost like he's effective.
Now.
Especially when he's like, I want that guy fired. And they're like, screw you. We're keeping this guy. Vladimir Putin's protecting this dude. He's like, I'll call Obama, see if this is what he wants. And Biden goes, call him. He sent me here to tell you this.
I'm just imagining if they're too corrupt to join NATO, how come it's okay then for Hunter to make all that money when he admitted on Good Morning America?
Well, Burisma's less corrupt now. It's a functioning energy company.
He had no experience in energy, gas, Ukraine, and got millions of dollars. What if?
Yeah, he wasn't there to. He was there to shepherd investors' money.
Your son's got millions of dollars for that with no experience.
Well, what was it? Let's see. Trump. We get all our money from Russia, I think is the what would there's something along, I'm trying to think what could possibly compare to this. I'm gonna see if I could possibly, is there something that maybe I'm sorry, Eric Trump in 2014, we have all the funding we need out of Russia. President Trump's son Eric once told a golf writer that funding for Trump golf courses came from Russia. That writer recounted in a new interview. James Dodson, during an interview Friday with Boston's WBUR, described meeting Donald Trump in 2014 and being invited to play golf. Served to us that he had access to $100 million. Dodson said he then questioned Eric Trump, who was along for the day. I said, Eric, who's funding? I know no banks, because of the recession, the Great Recession, have touched a golf course. You know, no one's funding any kind of golf construction. It's been dead in the water for the last 4 or 5 years. And this is what he said. He said, well, we don't rely on American banks. We have all the funding we need out of Russia. I said, really? He said, oh, yeah. We've got some guys that really, really love golf. And they're really invested in our programs. We just go there all the time. Derpity-doo. Derp-a-da-do-da-do, derp, derp, derpity-derp. So.
Well, when he said that, I was very surprised that he said it, because he said basically Ukraine is corrupt. And that was the whole purpose of what was going on. And frankly, we had an obligation, even a legal obligation. You know, we have an agreement signed with Ukraine. And that agreement says you got to be honest. You got to run a straight country. And they don't do that. And when I saw that.
Yeah, they just got a president, and he's trying to fix it. That, you know, the last couple of guys, I mean, especially the dude that Manafort worked for, you know, the guy who set up snipers on rooftops and set agent provocateurs in the crowd. It was his idea. The guy you hired to run your campaign, and he worked for free. That's weird.
Statement, I was surprised, because I guess you hear different numbers, but it's $183,000 a month for his son.
$183,000 a month, or $183,000 a month. Is that 180 months?
To consult on energy from an energy company in Ukraine.
No, he wasn't a consultant for the energy company. He was there on behalf of the investors with the rest of Rosemont Seneca. That's what they do. If you actually had any real businesses, you would know.
Consult on energy, but he admits that he knows nothing about energy. The whole thing is just terrible. The money from Russia, $3.5 million from the wife.
You're not going to show the picture of him at the dentist where he's getting his veneers put on, where his teeth are all ground down?
Of the mayor of Moscow, the former mayor of Moscow. We no longer have a fair and free press.
What was that edit?
Moscow, the former mayor of Moscow. We no longer have a fair.
That was weird. Sean, I'm starting to think this wasn't a live interview. I'm starting to think you did this earlier in the day, before Grampy needed nap and or some booger sugar, and you had to cut some stuff out.
Fair and free press. Moscow, the former mayor of Moscow. We no longer have a fair.
Yeah, that was an edit.
Fair and free press, whether you like it or not. And I hate to say it to you, because you're a big believer in the press, despite what you go through. But
a big believer in the press. Since when? You mean because he's a host on Fox at night?
We no longer have a free and fair press.
I said in 2007, sir, I wish I came up with fake news, but I did say journalism in America is dead, and I don't think I was wrong. I think I probably understated it.
Yeah, probably.
Let me ask this.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Can you kick my ass?
Because last week, Joe Biden said to our military that global warming was the biggest threat they faced. The week before.
No, the biggest physical threat.
Before he had said white supremacy is the biggest.
No, white supremacy is the biggest domestic threat the United States has.
Biggest threat to America. I don't know. I think China, Russia, North Korea,
they're our biggest geopolitical foes. I love when simple people try to shove complex ideas, I mean, they're not even that complex. It's just 3 different statements into their tiny little cranium holes.
Iranian mullahs might be bigger threats, radical Islamic terrorism. What's your reaction to that answer?
Well, he said that the military told him, and the generals, that, which was, I can't believe that, but maybe, but they shouldn't be working as generals any longer, that global warming is our biggest threat. Now, when you look at China and you look at the
Our biggest physical threat.
military apparatus, which I was really doing a big job on, I have a very good relationship there, too. It was a fantastic relationship until COVID or the China virus came in. And after that, we made a great.
Yeah, until they attacked us with a bioweapon. After that, I mean, everything just didn't feel right.
Great trade deal where the farmers of this country and the manufacturers are doing fantastically.
Oh, you mean your socialized farming program where the state pays farmers to produce and then you sell those things to China in the middle of a pandemic when our people are on food lines?
Because of that trade deal, farmers are doing better than they've ever done now. And that's because of what I did, not because of what these guys did.
No, not because of no. Hold on one second. Let's see. Biden Farm Bill. Just, throwing that out there. Just, a little farming related news.
And we did a fantastic thing. But when you look at it and when you look at what happened, Sean, and you see that horrible thing that came at us from China and came at.
What was that? What? The funding for Fast and Furious 9?
Us from the Wuhan lab.
The Wuhan.
It changed my whole line of thinking, and you just, I really hope and I believe it was an accident. It was incompetence. I guess some people don't necessarily agree with that. They think maybe there was purpose to it, which would be absolutely terrible. But
yeah, and if it turned out to be true, and by the way, Hannity probably believes that, that means you're still covering for them because you were president when this happened. So if it was on purpose, greatest bioweapon attack in American history and certainly maybe even world history, 600,000 dead Americans, and your response was to coddle them during the entire process, apologize for them, saying they were doing great, and then, of course, sell them all of our beef, corn, and soybeans.
But we have to find out more about it. Why did it happen?
Oh, by the way, just in case you... Farm workers are vital to the well-being of our country and our economy. For generations, America's farm workers, many of whom are undocumented, have worked countless hours to feed our nation, ensure our communities are healthy and strong. It's been an even more crucial during the COVID-19 pandemic as farm workers have put their lives and the lives of their loved ones on the line to ensure that families across the country have food on the table. That is why I support the Farm Workforce Modernization Act of 2021 and celebrate its passing. The act will deliver the lawful status and better working conditions that this critical workforce deserves, as well as much needed stability for farmers, growers, and the entire agricultural industry. Just farmers are doing better for other reasons.
How did it happen? How could anybody be so incompetent? And that is not a group of incompetent people.
No, they're amazing. Now, just please flatter the Chinese at the Wuhan lab a little more.
So,
well, Mr. President, can I add one thing here?
Can I add one thing here, though? It was an attack.
I believe it was a terrible accident, but I believe it came from the lab. And
why would you think it's an accident?
Yeah, why would you think it's an accident, other than the fact that if it was on purpose, you were president during what would be then the greatest bioweapon attack in U.S. history, and you failed miserably at countering it? Why would you think it was an accident? If only just to make yourself look even worse.
We knew there was actually video out now of bats in the Wuhan virology lab.
Yes, no one is surprised by this. This was all news back then.
We knew that they studied coronaviruses, and we now know from the emails from the great Dr. Fauci, flip-flopper, that gain-of-function research was being done there. So it seems like...
Yeah, it stopped under the Obama administration, and then it started again under the Trump administration. The gain-of-function work... Why did the Obama administration, around the same time they created the pandemic response team, stop all funding and make it illegal to fund gain of function research, and then Trump undid it somehow.
The most logical conclusion. The only question is there a possibility that U.S. tax dollars help pay for the gain of function leading to
Yeah, we punched ourselves in the face.
COVID-19?
Well, we ended that, John, and when we heard about it, I ended that, but that started in 2014 under Obama. And
No, it stopped in 2014.
when I heard about it, we ended it very rapidly. I said, can you imagine? And it wasn't even Wuhan. It was just that we were paying China on top of everything else. We're now paying for their research and other things. Ridiculous. So we ended that as soon as we heard about it. And we did
They're so cute.
a lot of things against China. Not that I want to be against China, because I had a great relationship with
I'm gonna build shit there now. That's what all the sucking up was about.
President Xi. A lot of respect for him.
Yeah, by the way, Trump Tower Beijing, Trump Tower Hong Kong. Just hang on.
But
If he doesn't go,
I banned China from coming into the country and very early, before anybody. Fauci and Nancy Pelosi was dancing in the streets of
January
Chinatown in San
31st.
Francisco.
Sorry, what does Chinatown have to do with travel from China specifically? Seriously. Chinese Americans. So let's say during the height of, when it was really bad in Italy, for example, where COVID was rampaging through Italy, and there were signs that people were beating up Italians or trashing Italian businesses. So the local representative from the House, who represents the district where Little Italy would be, coming down there and saying it's safe here, the Italian people are not infectious.
Cisco, and they were all saying what I did was xenophobic and horrible and racist. And then they said 4 months later, I saved thousands and thousands of lives. But I banned China from coming in.
I mean, it was a sieve.
And it's lucky I did. And then I banned Europe from coming in, because you saw what was happening, especially in certain countries in Europe. And I banned Europe from coming in. And everybody said that was terrible.
No, they didn't. Everybody was shutting down at that
But we
point.
saved tens of thousands of lives. And
It's all you did. You thought, well, let's just close the door.
now we have to get back, and the schools have to get open. And frankly,
They are.
we're lucky we have the vaccine, but the vaccine on very young people is something that you got to really stop. You have to get back to running your country. I mean, I don't see
What the hell?
reasons, and
What?
I am a big believer in what we
Hold on. Wait. Back up. What was that gibberish?
I don't really stop. Vaccine on very young people is something that you got to really stop. You have to get back to running your country. I mean, I don't see reasons.
What the fuck?
And I am a big believer in what we did with the vaccine. It's incredible what we did. You see the results. But to have every school child, where it's 99.99%, they just don't, they're just not affected or affected badly, having to receive a vaccine, I think is something that you should start thinking about, because I think it's unnecessary.
Yeah, that's not how this. No one has to be 100% vaccinated to go back to elementary school next year. No one's talking about that. The schools they're talking about are universities.
China to pay $10 trillion, don't you?
Yeah, to him personally.
Well, the number is much higher than
Yeah, what was the fee for the gas chambers?
that, but there's only so much they can pay, and that's to us.
Yeah, you
And
think?
the world is, the number is bigger throughout the world. Look, countries have been destroyed over what they did. And whether by accident or not, and I would hope that it was accident, I hope
Yeah, you would hope for an accident.
that it was through incompetence or an accident. But when
Yeah, okay.
you look, whether it was by an accident, whether it was whatever it is,
Jesus, how many times does he say that?
I hope that it was through incompetence or an accident. But when you look, whether it was by an accident, whether it was whatever it is, you look at these countries, they'll never, ever be the same.
What? Yeah, they will. The fuck are you talking about? Even the Spanish flu, your favorite reference point, didn't change the fundamental structure of nation states the world over.
country was hit so hard, but other countries were hit much harder. Look at what's going on in India now. You know, they used to say, oh, look how well India's doing, because they were always looking for an excuse. Look how well India's doing. The fact is that India's just been devastated now. And
yeah, with the Delta variant.
Virtually every country has been devastated.
No. The deaths are devastating. These countries have not been devastated. You dipshit.
No, I think that's one of the reasons that I feel it's very important to find out where it came from, how it came. I think I know. I mean, I feel certain about it. But certainly...
Yeah, why are you salivating at the idea? This is grossing me out.
China should help. Right now, their economy and our economy are the two economies that are coming back the fastest. I mean, if you think about it, in certain ways, maybe they benefited very greatly. I mean, very, very greatly. And I can tell you they benefited with the U.S. because we were in the process of doing things where we caught up to China at a level that nobody thought was possible. And once the China virus came in, we had to take a very different look. You know, the world changed. The whole world changed. You didn't think about the economics. You thought about saving people and saving lives. So the world changed. It was a different... It was a whole different ball game. We did.
Yeah, hundreds of years ago. Remember that?
We did the Great Trade Deal, a big piece of it, but we did the Great Trade Deal, and it helped a lot of people.
Piece of it, the Great Trade Deal. You mean the one where they were supposed to buy $30 billion worth of goods and they bought 13?
Well, manufacturers and farmers in particular, but you know,
but you know, you mean the part where you sold them the biggest order of corn, soybeans, and beef in the nation's history because it was 4 months worth and they bought it all late because they were dragging ass and it was a huge shipment and we sold it to them even though our people were in food lines. I know I keep bringing that up, but for fuck's sake.
After that horrible disease floated in from China.
It floated in.
However it came in, and it came in through
it obviously floated in
numerous ways. Once that disease came in.
Yeah, it didn't always float. Sometimes it slid. Yeah. There was a couple of splats I heard
from China. I had a whole different attitude. It was
it just changed my attitude about it. You know what I mean? I just didn't.
Terrible thing.
Let me ask you about. Let me go back to the campaign, and I'm going to play a tape for you here.
Yeah, go back to the campaign.
I've compared Joe Biden. I've shown video of him from 2012, 2016. I called, you know, he lived in his basement bunker throughout most of the campaign in 2020. I used to argue he was in the big tech media mob protection program, and they let him hide and get away without answering.
Yeah, that was great stuff. I remember going, this comes across as really sharp. Remember that when he said that?
Any questions? Did the bare minimum.
Remember what he used to say last year? Everybody, is there anybody in the Hannity membership club where they get their little get your Hannity talking points early?
Of anybody campaigning, and I have a highlight reel that I put together, but I'm saving that for another day. But this happened at the G7. Joe's had a lot of these cognitive misfires, let's call it that, and this is the one that he had because he had called Putin a killer. Then he was asked about it. He didn't want to give that answer because he's about to meet with Putin. And your reaction to Joe and do you think he's up to the job physically, mentally? Let me play this.
Vladimir Putin laughed at the suggestion that you had called him a killer. Is that still your belief, sir, that he is a killer?
Oh, this is the same edit they used on the other shows.
To answer the first question, I'm laughing too. They actually, well, look, I mean, he has made clear that
this is them putting the, this is adorable. It's almost like Hannity is the YouTuber and I'm the one doing real news.
The answer is, I believe he has in the past essentially acknowledged that he was, there are certain things that he would do or did do.
You know, I do make fun of it, but in all seriousness, Mr. President.
It's so scary. Say something, please, Mr. Trump, right now, say something that is just like magic. Something along the lines of,
we're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges. People coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup.
say something like,
Michigan gave us Motang.
you know, something that we can really wrap our head around. That, you know, like
Yosemite.
you know, stuff that makes us feel like, man, we're really missing out.
President, that scares the hell out of me. Have you noticed the same thing I
Maybe
see?
the only time I've ever disagreed with you is about the age, because I guess Joe is going on to be 79.
Thank you,
fairly soon.
Diana.
And that's not old, relatively speaking. I know Bernie Marcus, a great gentleman, founder of Home Depot.
Bernie Sanders is
92,
older.
He's 100%. I spoke to him. He's 100%. And other people are in their 90s and 80s, and they're doing great. So, you know, his age is not the problem. And
Yeah, there's a problem that Trump has when they're talking about this, because he will be Biden's age if he wants to run in 2024. So the idea that that's over the hill or broken, he's going to take that personally.
Look, I hope he has no problems. I want him to do well. I want him to go out and do well. I think the election was unbelievably unfair, but I want this guy to go out and do well for our country. I don't want to see a scene like that. I watched that yesterday. I thought it was terrible. It was terrible. Nobody knew what was happening.
Let me ask.
I watched it. I knew what was happening. Maybe it's the viewer you're talking about that has the problem?
No.
Let me move on to the economy.
Yeah, move on. That didn't really land.
We now have inflation. We now have jobs.
Please say lumber prices.
That people aren't taking, and businesses now are turning down the federal government's extended unemployment benefits. The price of lumber.
When it's optional, yeah, that's kind of the point. You know, it's good that they're not taking it just because they can take it. That's a good sign.
Through the roof. The price of gasoline up
Sorry, wait, what?
Businesses now are turning down the federal government's extended unemployment benefits. The price of lumber through the roof. The price of
wait, sorry. This premiered 18 hours ago. So perhaps, let's see, when is this? Yeah, so maybe, no, this was 23 hours ago. So, yeah, maybe that's the, let's see, lumber price, that's a day ago. What lumber and gold prices tell us about the stock market's next move. Lumber prices are falling fast, turning hoarders into sellers. Lumber prices are dropping fast. Realtor magazine, that's going to make housing cheaper. Look, piles of lumber. What? I'm sorry, the lumber's what? You what? I'm sorry?
Gasoline up an average $1.10 per gallon. The price
since last year when no one was going anywhere.
To heat and cool your home is up. The price of meat is skyrocketing. Lumber.
Hold on. Well, we did have a lot of beef last year, but some asshole sold it to another country. So beef prices. Once again, it's grilling season. Oh, why? Let's say why does Fox think that the price is going up? Just Fox 17. Why is that? You know, once again, as grilling season gets in. Oh, you mean because of demand? I see. All right. Sorry. Let's look at some places. Hold on. Let's see. U.S. market will face rising prices due to expected livestock curbs. I just published a new report, U.S. beef, cattle meat, market analysis, forecast size, trends, and insights. Here's a summary of the report's key findings. Despite prices remaining consistent in the first half of 2021, an increase is expected in the immediate term. The projected 2% fall in the American cattle population by 2022 threatens to increase beef prices by near 5%. Investment into the alternative protein sector is dramatically increased. And the emerging food inflation mitigates income growth from counter-COVID support measures, which may hamper the beef market growth. Key trends and insights in the first half of 2021. Prices remain unchanged against the end of 2022. Previously, beef prices in the United States surged on average by 10 to 14% in May 2020. What? Sorry, what? They're going up what? In May 2020, when the first outbreak of the pandemic recorded, they remained high until June, then fell slightly in August, stabilized around $4 to $9. That's pretty broad. $4 to $9.30 a pound. depending on the type of beef throughout the end of the year. Beef production is set to fall by 2% in 2021, owing to the decline in cattle population. So Biden's been driving around in a truck or flying in a helicopter like Sarah Palin and shooting cows. That's why. So Biden's responsible for the death or the decline in population, the lack of fertility of American cows. The dry weather conditions have led to the depletion of grazing land and increased cost of animal feed. Gee, it's almost like dealing with climate change would fucking help the beef industry. Farmers are now being forced to quicken cattle slaughter and curb the number of livestock. Against a sustained demand for beef, these factors may cause meat prices to rise by 5% on average in 2022. Because of demand.
Skyrocket.
They're going up 5%, 2 to 5% between now and 2022, and in 2022. Meanwhile, in May of last year, prices went up 10%. Does anybody remember the May of last year wailing and gnashing of teeth from Fox about the spike in meat prices in May of 2020? Anybody? Does anybody see any of that? No?
Every item that you buy in any store that is delivered by a
Biden's stutter is killing cattle, right, Audrey?
Truck, you are paying a lot more for. And I'm looking at it, and we're getting rid of energy independence, which you gave us as president for the first time in 75 years.
No, we had energy independence under Obama.
What is your take?
We had an energy surplus because of that happened to occur during the Trump administration.
On the state of the economy and the impact the current border crisis has on it, and I'll do a follow-up on that.
Yeah, fill us all. I mean, it's a lot, but obviously you can handle it. 5D chess, go for it.
So the lumber is really a function of supply and demand. We have so much, but they're putting environmental restrictions on trees now that are so bad, and we're trying to make deals with Canada. I can tell you from personal experience, Canada is very, very tough. Canada is...
Yeah. You mean you failed to negotiate a dairy and lumber truce on those things, the kind of way Biden did with airplane parts?
As tough as anybody.
Yeah, Canada's tough, man. God damn.
It's very unfair.
I remember a lot of that, Hal. I live on a cattle ranch. Don't get me started, freaking hell. I don't doubt it, Amy. You're probably our senior expert on the subject.
The way Canada treats us. And I had it down to a
fucking Canada
science. It was so good. We were doing so well. Everything was coming down.
Yeah, it was so coming down, except when it went up 10% in May of last year.
We signed the USMCA, Mexico, Canada.
Which didn't have anything to do with apparently these prices and didn't benefit it at all.
We were not.
So you signed that deal, and the deal exists, and it's not solving this.
Not being taken advantage of anymore. And I was going to tariff the hell out of their cars coming into the United States if they did, and they knew it. And as soon as I left, they started playing games. And now you look at lumber prices, because we get a lot from Canada, and you look at what's going on with milk and the fact that they don't take us, but we take them.
Yeah, they don't take us milk. You mean our enormous dairy industry that could completely swamp their dairy industry because as big as they are as a landmass, they're a low population country, and they have to do protectionist stuff to keep their dairy industry from being completely swamped by Wisconsin, which is just over the border and produces more milk and dairy than they would need in 10 years.
So many things they did to the farmer that I straightened out, and now it's going back to worse than it was because there's nobody there complaining about it. No, Canada...
Yeah, it was the complaining that really did it.
It treats this country very, very badly. So does Europe, by the way. And China, you know...
So do stairs. I mean, obviously. Okay, don't let me fall down.
As I say, in many ways, Europe treats us just as badly as China.
Yeah, they don't.
Let me ask this.
Well, unless, I mean, I guess Europe, I don't know when the last time Europe accidentally on purpose released a virus that killed 600,000 Americans. Yeah, I'll have to look.
Question. And I want to ask it, and I'll ask you about 2022 and 2024 in a minute. It seems to me that conservatism, and I remember, and maybe you do it or you don't.
He probably doesn't.
When you were thinking about running for president, times that
He doesn't. I'm just going to let you know he doesn't.
Interview you in private conversations we'd have at the time. I explained what I believed in. I really haven't changed much. I believe in liberty, freedom, capitalism, our Constitution, low taxes, less government interference, bureaucracy.
I believe in a government small enough for Vladimir Putin to stick an ice pick in its prefrontal cortex and leave it in a ditch with its clothes on backwards. That's true conservatism. I believe in liberty, but, not gay people getting married or, gender rights for people or whatever, like as long as it doesn't get too woke, freedom with, tap the brakes.
Constitutionalists on the bench, school choice, law.
Oh, a constitutionalist on the bench, right? Like Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh, who both voted against repealing the ACA. Oh.
Law and order, safety and security, so people can pursue happiness.
Yes, law and order, like charging up the steps of the Capitol and tasing a cop until he had a heart attack, and hitting another cop in the head with a fire extinguisher, and the two. I mean, could you name the two cops that committed suicide? Probably not. I mean, why bother? And of course, like if nothing says law enforcement and law and order like erecting a gallows on the Capitol.
Market solutions for health care, including protecting pre-existing conditions.
How do you protect? Oh, you protect. That's how you do it. Market solution. Protect pre-existing conditions against the evils of medicine fixing
Want
them.
Secure borders. I absolutely, positively want energy independence for a lot of reasons, and free and fair trade and peace through strength. That pretty much sums up Sean Hannity's philosophy.
Well, yeah, that you also want to vape during the breaks and scream at your wife and kids and denigrate them as human beings within full earshot of the staff there, so much so that when on the rare occasion I was at Fox doing shows there in the old days, they would complain rather loudly, actually, about how awful a person you were. And they work there.
There was talk that you are considering...
And by the way, the other thing, too, of course, you being, was it client number 3? Yeah.
Maybe laying out the Trump America First, Make America Great Again agenda. How close is my lifelong held beliefs to what you would put on paper if you ever considered it? And are you
Yeah, could you craft, just write up what my list is and make it the same as what you would say? Just agree with me real quick.
considering it?
Well, I am, and frankly, if you think of it, that's what I've been doing and talking about for a long time.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Yeah, you had to get out. Yeah, you got to bail on that one, kids. Yeah, Sean, please, whatever you do, don't play the rest of what he said, whatever that was. Jesus, they wedge in the top and wedge in out at the bottom, and then edit in the middle to just cut down. I missed the sound. Look at this. I miss the sound of my president's voice, only president I ever trusted. Hobby Collector says that. I'm sure that's a totally legit account. Tilda May says, we need Donald Trump back. He's the only one I can remember that did right by our country. Of course, I have that memento disease. We cannot be the home of the free without being the home of the brave. But, okay. Well, not if the it's land of the free. If you're doing the song lyrics, don't worry about it. I'm not confident of anything. Joe Biden. Okay, there you go. Right now, Biden is home in Jill's lap with his teddy bear crying about Putin being a bully. No, that's not what he does with his head in Jill's lap. He's got a... Anyways, I miss you, Mr. President. God bless you and God bless America. That's very sweet. Thank you, Sir Nimbus. I'm sure a legit thing. William Oxidine. My president, I always said we need the business person as president, not lawyers who don't know a thing about creating jobs. Trump proved me right. Yeah, I mean, that guy sounds like he comes from Ohio. I love how Hannity refers to Trump as Mr. President. I can't tell if that's sarcasm or not. The Hair family loves you. Greatest president ever. I wish we could donate, but we are not doing well financially right now. I thought America was made great again. I thought you're not doing well? No? Sorry, Hair family. Thank you, President Trump, for all your sacrifices and hard work. America is still inspired by your vision for our great nation. Belinda Cherney. Seems like this Biden guy doesn't know peanut butter from jelly. LMAO. Dark Spartan says this. Doesn't know peanut butter from jelly. Gotcha. I mean, it's a zinger. I love how he calls the China virus. He's been saying it far longer than we have. Robert Livergood. Love President Trump. We want you back. Misa Pipi. Jim Talbot says his cognitive decline is shockingly obvious. Bless his heart. I think he's talking about Trump in that one. Miss Trump so much. Capitalized Miss Trump. I love Miss Trump. She's lovely. But where is she? But Joe Biden says I ain't black. Laughing clown. Yeah, so what says that? Well, no one actually knows. You're an anonymous YouTube account. So good to hear. You might be Czechoslovakian for all we know. So probably not. Good to hear our real president speak. Make America great again. Flag emoji. Dying of COVID-19 doesn't scare me as much as voting Democrat after I'm dead. All right, it's a solid joke. I get it. I mean, I've seen it a bunch of times, but yeah. Like Hussein getting that Nobel Peace Prize, that was the biggest clue. And must have been relating to something he said during the... Love President Trump. He will always be my president. Guess the thing. Love them. Sunshine Mama says that. You don't have to like Trump. Well, thank God for that. But you can't deny that his being president gave way for the mainstream media and politicians to show how blatantly corrupt they truly are. Well, if you mean the Republicans and Hannity, I mean, it's kind of rude to say that on his page, right? The snake is a worthy adversary. He uses all of his weapons. He's a desperate fighter trying to take us down. Thank you for your patriotism, Mr. Trump. The snake? You knew I was a snake when you gave me a ride across the bridge or through the what? I don't remember. Having the Biden crime family in the White House lowers the frequency of the whole nation. Uh-oh, we've got a Reiki specialist. Crime rises. Ultimately, the frequency of the whole planet is held down. If you don't see that, wake up! Bruce Nicholas. I miss my President Trump. We need him so badly now. Can you imagine if we had like 20 years of Trump-type presidents? This country would be amazing. Lee Bad, right? Oh, there you go. My love and support for President Trump has never wavered. South Africa for Trump. Well, okay, well, he could always move there and run, I suppose. I think he would have been a pre-Mandela candidate, though, if you know what I'm saying. Trump is the beast we all need to be. That's a little demonic. I don't know that Lindell would sign off on that one. Trump is my president 2020 and beyond. Thumb, 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 thumb. White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, thumb. By the way, this is not the white supremacy. This is okay. This means okay. Sorry. And the best okay in a movie ever is Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop. Just for the record. Miss him more than ever. You don't know what you got till it's gone. I mean, nothing sums up the Trump presidency more than bastardized Cinderella lyrics. Joe Brainfart Biden is a disgrace. Trump voice. Oh, I see. He did it in his... So Striker 4888 is doing it. Please prove the election was wrong and you are our president. Yes, for Kathy. Kathy Painter wants... Please do it. Prove this. Please tell us. Let's just impeach President Biden along with Harris and Pelosi. Period. Yeah. So the fake news is saying Trump finally conceded during this interview. I heard nothing, nowhere with Trump conceding. Trump won in 2020. There is no denying it, but there is suppressing it. Yikes, Biden couldn't even go and meet with Putin because he's literally incompetent. Yikes. God bless Trump, we miss you. And what? And that we know the secret civilian Biden administration weaknesses. What is now to be done? Can Biden be impeached? I don't know if he can be impeached. It's a good question.